Hi guys, how's it going? Okay, so I'm gonna do a full moon in Cancer, check in on the full moon in Cancer for all the signs for you guys. Sorry I didn't put out any, videos the last I guess it's like 2 weeks now. Jesus. It's been a wild ride, I was stuff was going on before then and I was, exhausted and stuff still going on, like obviously the fires and everything. And yeah, 2025 definitely starting off with a bang. Yeah, these fires though, I've been, this is an emotional full moon for sure. But oh my God, these fires have been like making me like mad too, just mad and like the full range of emotions. Because I have been through this with Lahaina. I used to live in Lahaina for like 4 years, and I know a lot of people that went through that fire and how sketchy it is. Like it's a little sketchy, and this one is too. So immediately I knew like, okay, yeah, this is going to be a weird thing. And I knew it was going to be a weird thing when there was a news article and it was so weird. It was like there's going to be 100-mile-per-hour winds in parts of LA. And it's like, when when we get winds, when does it only hit like parts of the same city? Like, and these winds were really weird. I've never seen winds like this in my entire life in California. 100-mile-per-hour winds. Like they blew my doors off down below, completely off the hinges and everything. And it was wild. So there's like, wind damage. And then, I was like, you could just feel that something was coming. I felt like, the manifestor burnout, like, which you feel like, completely burned out and tired with that. But, because we feel that collective energy pretty intensely. But at the same time, like just rage and just like sensing something was coming. And like I even had a dream that the hills were on fire. So when I like got like a intuitive hit and like walked out there, and then I like kind of knew there was like a fire right there. And I'm like, okay, great. Now we have to evacuate and everything. And it's all just super weird, but I think with this one, which is nice, people are kind of more awake to this one and seeing how weird it is. And the thing is, it's a mix between, I don't know if it's like conspiracy or if it's just like pure corruption, really, because obviously the government in California is super corrupt, like with how much taxes we pay with this giant economy. And like obviously there's that one lady who gets paid almost $1 million a year to just do the fire hydrants, or she probably does other stuff, but you can't even do that. Like, and that just seems like a classic like payoff, obviously. So like really like if you look into it, it just seems like maybe even a lot of people just got lazy. They just get paid a lot because this is, a very like affluent state to work for, and you're going to get paid a lot. And that, maybe everyone is sheeple here. Everyone has to go along with what everyone else is doing. And if you question it, or if you like, stand up, like you get bombarded and you get ousted and everything. So it's like, and it's very weird to find like individual people here, and not people that just want to do, the Hollywood thing or whatever. So I think it's just a little bit of corruption, a little bit of laziness, a little bit of, plans. This was probably planned though. But it came most likely probably from the top, like the corporations and the people that we don't see, the people that are actually like really in control. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see like how this plays out. And I also think like California is really important for ascension. There's so many ley lines here. There's Mount Shasta, which is the root chakra of the earth. And, it's just like if you look into ley lines, they've, existed forever. I think the Irish like really work with them and everything and clear them up. And I think there's a lot of ley lines here, and especially like in LA. And that's why there's a giant corrupt city here right now. But I think, things can kind of go in the other direction too, with maybe like being able to clear up the ley lines. And it's funny, I have like a fun project to do to actually do that, coming up. So that should be kind of fun, because like with shit crumbling, we have the advantage too to like really point stuff out, to not let the land grab happen, to really not be scared, not get scared and lean into the terror and the chaos, like and turn against each other like they want us to. No, like let's stay open-minded, stay heart-centered. Like with Mars trine Neptune with this whole thing too, like it's your consciousness is so important. Like being able to like have, even if you get to anger and then you can get above that on the vibrational scale, like you have more control when you're at the top of that awareness pyramid or that vibrational scale. When you're stuck at the bottom, you in fear and shame, you get stuck in inaction and just afraid to do anything. And that's not where we need to be. We need to be at least at angry and or higher, so we don't get like herded like sheeple and just tell us what to do with the city and everything else. But, they've been clearing out LA for a while now, obviously, like handing out like fentanyl and making it chaos down there and making it illegal to like prosecute anyone if you steal shit. Like you have to steal over $1,000, to even get in trouble. And there was literally a guy running around with a blowtorch and they arrested him and they let him go. They're like, oh, there wasn't enough evidence. Are you kidding me? Like everyone, it's like I think it's pretty obvious now. Like they're trying to like t take, some sort of control over this land area. I think it is just more out of like control to like do that kind of the testing ground of whatever they want to do for the future, with the 5-minute cities or whatever it is. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if like this kind of shoved us into a big political shift or something. I mean, that's the worst case scenario, is everyone getting stuck in the duality again and turning against each other. Like, let's not make it political. Let's like make it for California. Let's care for the environment. Let's burn this shit. Because like most of the trees here too, I forget what they're called, but they have oils on them. They're meant to be burned and controlled burned, a couple times a year, like a year or something like that, like often, like the Native Americans used to do it. And we like everyone has known about this for like the last 5 years at least. And like, nobody's doing anything. And it's like, okay, well, there's solutions, and we just need to, obviously take back control and stop ignoring the government corruption that's going on. So this could be the right step in the right direction for all of that. But, fingers crossed, we have to really not, I think that's the most important thing, not get stuck in the fear and the anxiety. That's why I pulled this like along the watchtower up. If everyone wants to know what it's like awakening and like I awakened like majorly this past year. So it's like I can always tell when I'm at the top of the pyramid or at the bottom. Like if I'm hanging out with low vibe people or if I like drank the night before, like I go to lower, into the maze. And when you're in the maze of the ego and just the shame and the guilt and the bottom of, just watch this. Like, and this guy, it's so weird. He has like 8 videos and they're all super, I mean, I haven't watched them all, but they're all really interesting. And yeah, but it's like when you're at the top of the maze, like you can perceive things and life is more like a video game and you're not stuck in the programming and the subconscious, defeat ways that we defeat ourselves or like, all the ways that we can like stay in the kind of program game that like most people are in. Like when you raise your consciousness, you're like, oh, the signs, the synchronicities. You just listen to your intuition, and your vibration is literally everything. And yeah, it kind of gets you, it gives you like the hack cheat code, I guess, of reality. So, and if you watch that and you've been awakening, you can tell it's like, oh, okay, gotta get back up here so we can like, you know, not be controlled really and not get hurted in general. So, okay, so let's get into the full moon. I definitely needed to talk about that. But yeah, this full moon is uncomfortable. This full moon is exactly conjunct Mars. So our anger is really highlighted, and in Cancer, our emotional anger. So we're facing the past in a deep way, and maybe where we didn't stand up for ourselves, or maybe where we do feel hopeless and where we do kind of need to grab our power back, you know. So we're going to be feeling our anger, our passion, our emotions, our frustrations. And this is all to get that emotional wisdom. Because when you feel, you gain that soulful wisdom of how you can go in the right direction. And that's the most important thing right now for the next 18 months, because the North Node is in Pisces. It's like you need to be aligned with your soul to make the dream happen. If it's not aligned with your soul, it's not going to happen. So you got to feel your feelings. You got to prioritize your feelings and really allow that soulful wisdom, you know, to come to you. And you can only do that by like really, you know, meditating, getting quiet, listening to yourself, feeling your feelings, and journaling why you are feeling those feelings. And, you know, this can be difficult if you don't have any like water placements. It took me a while to like actually be able to like really feel my feelings. I think I like didn't even feel the depth of any feelings until like my Saturn return. And then like I have a Sag moon, so like, you know, I'll have like down periods and everything, but most of the time it's like, okay, shove them back until, you know, whenever. And I didn't realize how important they were. You know, when you find that expansion on the outside, you actually make it so much easier to manifest everything externally. So like the internal work is just as important as the external work. Like, so we're finding that balance, you know, where we can like sit back and receive versus where we need to take action, because both are equally powerful. And it's really being able to get rebalanced with that, especially with like Pluto out of Capricorn still. We don't need to work and grind. We actually do need to get soulfully aligned with ourselves. And if you ignore your emotions and if you try to continue with the grind and go and go and constantly go outside of yourself, your life usually ends up being a disaster because you're usually pushing so hard in all the wrong directions and causing more and more and more problems for yourself, and running into the same relationships or the same issues, and because you didn't learn the lesson. So this is our time to really go within and learn the lessons so we don't like fall into the same lessons. And so when we do go external, we like can, you know, do it in a way better way that's just really, you know, aligned with who we truly are. So it's very important. Don't try to force, and also ignoring your feelings like this, like especially if it's kind of like in your chart, like and you're supposed to be feeling your feelings, like it can cause health problems. So you got to realize like where like those like you know, just clogged up emotions might actually be causing health problems, and you might be really screwing up your body, especially the men. The men have a problem with this, like really ignoring everything and just going and going and going, and then, you know, you have a health problem later. And that's literally just like because a mismanagement of your energy, and you've been ignoring it and just shoving and shoving. But it's not your fault because, you know, society just says to do that. But like you really do have to, like when you're feeling that intense anger and like just like the emotions, like it's time to give yourself a rest, especially in the upcoming months, because there's going to be a soulful flooding. There's going to be like 7 planets in Pisces. We have to feel, and we have to feel not only this lifetime, but actually previous lifetimes. And it's hard to tell when that's actually happening, but like you actually, like, it is a thing that totally actually happens. You know, especially like, yeah, just it does. So, especially when you're feeling like super intensely sad about something and you're like, what, this doesn't like match up to that, actually what it is. But, you do. Your feelings connect you to the deep past and your karma and like your like yeah past lives, so you can gain that soulful wisdom at the same time with your past lives when you feel your feelings and know why you're feeling a certain way. So you got to really and this whole next couple months is really going to be about presence and flow, where being able to be in the present moment is always a superpower. With the south node in Virgo, it's less about planning. No more planning. We have to be in the present moment. We can't be constantly looking at the past. We can't be worried about the future. The present moment is where your power always lies. And that's where you will always get that soulful guidance to go in the right direction, because your soul and the universe and God, which is inside of you, know where to go better than you do, always. So you have to like get really just appreciate that and the appreciate the magnitude of that and start living in the present moment, because our soul won't give us the whole like plan and where to go. You only get it in the present moment, because timelines are also constantly shifting too. And it's also like how you decide what timeline you want to be on. If you want to be on a higher one, if you want to be on the lower one, if you keep on fucking up, you're going to be on a lower one, but you can always jump to the higher one like now, you know? It's just like recognizing that you can do that. So, really learning emotional lessons. And I like these emotional lessons too, because it is kind of like where we feel that resentment or that rage or just frustration about something. That's a moment where we can kind of just like be present with it and kind of like recognize where we're placing our power to. If we're placing it outside of us, if we're, placing it, if we're not empowering ourselves with it, a lot of the times we can go victim mentality or like, just giving our power away out of like some, expectation or something. Um, Give your power back to yourself and realize like when you kind of learn that lesson and just love yourself more, you can open your heart and like be open to receiving and seeing where else you can go from here. Because once you kind of learn the lesson, the universe will always like spit you out and release you from it. So emotional wisdom is majorly what we're learning in the next couple of months. And I kind of like, this in general, like loosening up the South Node in Virgo. It's like turning that rigidity in that fixedness into like, intention, into transformation. So we can kind of like free ourselves up, like what all the structures that weren't supposed to be there, it's like they're getting washed away, and you can just like surrender and have that transformation. And it really does give you a lot of power. And then it also brings you into the present moment where you have way more creativity to create your future. So present moment is where it's at, is where it's always at. I mean, Eckhart, you can read Eckhart Tolle. I've only gotten through part of that book. I need to go through it. That would be a perfect book to go through right now. So know that like the highest version, you can always be the highest version of yourself now. And that's kind of what we're also doing. So we can, because to really manifest your best life, you have to become that best version of yourself. So if you're not the best version of yourself now, like what about that? Like, how can you become that higher version of yourself? Constantly doing that, because you don't get what you want usually because you're not like wise enough to get it yet. You have to you have to be that on the inside to be able to get more of what you want. Like you want a multi-million dollar company full of like hundreds of employees or, and a giant family or, all of that. You have to have that emotional wisdom like within, you have to be powerful on the inside too. You can't just like show up and just be like, oh, here I am. This is what I wanted, So the universe is working in your favor always. So, and you have to like evolve into that higher version of yourself to be able to receive everything. And then I also kind of like this, because we're learning about a lot about like unconditional love with the North Node and, Venus and Pisces and all of that. And it's important to recognize that unconditional love is self-love first, We have with especially with the Virgo Pisces axis, we want to be of service. We want to help others. There's so much compassion and empathy and everything, but we have to make sure that we have that unconditional self-love. And then once we have that, we have more of that for everyone else too. And then you're on your soulful path and you're not like sacrificing yourself in any way. You have to have that self-love to be that best version of you, to really be guided by like God and the higher source, because that's what we're doing now, to go in the right direction towards our highest dreams. So really have that unconditional love for yourself first. And that can also, really empower you. Realize where you're not doing that. But yeah, I mean, man, this is like a ego. This is really releasing our ego. This is like a ego trigger for sure. Even like I think the most spiritually evolved people are really like spiritually evolving in the next couple of months. Because that will never end, that's like there that's just this realm, or there's so many more, dimensions where, at a pretty low one that like the evolving will never, ever, ever stop. And like we're going to have to constantly like really realign our ego with our newest, highest version of ourselves. And, with the ego breaking down and triggering and falling apart, where like we need things to go like a certain way, or we need to like, be that person. Like, I mean, we're going to see where we haven't been acting as much as our true selves. And that can be really helpful because that'll show us where we're not aligned in life too. So our like releasing the ego where we haven't been our not self. And this is like kind of everyone falls into this, like especially when, so okay, for example, so say you grow up and you're really funny and you just realize that like gets everyone going and you get that attention and it's just so much fun. A lot of actors have this, but it's really funny. So that's what they do socially. That's the only part of themselves that they're embodying, out in public, out with like, meeting the world and everything. So, and that's only like, but that's so draining because it's only one part of them and they're pumping it all the way up. And that's where it can be like the ego and it can be like so draining. Or you can build your whole life with a false ego, like say you're like, a woman that got tired of being in relationships and just got like mad and just wanted to build an empire and like, work for herself and like, well, and just like, that's all she wanted, but she wanted to do it because she was tired of being screwed over. That's also the ego. So you built a life, from the ego. And that's like, okay, wait, you got to get back into your true self and your soul and what you truly actually want and not let the ego, lead you in the wrong direction. So the ego is very tricky. It can take us in the wrong direction all the time. And it's really up to us to kind of like go within, and this can help us like really realize like what's important and what is, missing, and what do we truly want, It's because like the way we can be the most powerful is like being able to do that, go within, face more of our true self, heal those wounds, and dive into the shadows and not be afraid to do that. Because, like, when you do that, you can embrace the gem of like who you truly are and like let just kind of like not be so, not try to control everything, Because when you like there was an actor actually like that I like met recently that was very on, very funny, very, and that like is his mode, but he's having a hard time right now because it's like this is the time where your true self has to shine through, and like a unexpected meeting like can't come up, and like people can't just walk in because there's a sense of control that the ego needs to have, where it's like okay, like because you're afraid to really truly be seen. The deepest part of yourself, you have to wear the mask. You need to control more of what's outside of you versus like letting universe like work through you, shine through you. Just know you're always being at the right place at the right time, and you are your most powerful, authentic self, and just going, like, and being able to live in the moment, in the present moment too. But that makes you a very, very powerful in general because you become a conduit for your higher self and for the universe, and to like really just like shine through you, to animate through you. Because it's like no more games, no more of the fucking ego games, no more running from yourself. You show up and that's it. And it's actually a lot simpler, but it is scary, in the beginning, it is scary. Actually, ego deaths are not fun. They are not fun. Okay, so, but they're going to be happening more and more and more, especially this year. So, like, but yeah, just give yourself the space to do it, and compassion for yourself and others, and it'll be good. But I like this because, your vibration tells you literally everything. And you can't lie about your vibration ever. It literally is what it is. Like how you can't like pretend to like something or say something or be with people like, and like that's not going to match your vibration. Everything's about vibration now, and how we need to be more, our actions and our thoughts and our being, like our actual vibrational being needs to be aligned with how we take action now. So I like that with like, you know, Mars trying Neptune. So it's like having more compassion so we can take action like with who we truly are, and having that awareness of it too. Um, so yeah, definitely a moon to relax. And oh yeah, also I do like this because we can kind of reprogram ourselves in a major way. Realize that we're always on our highest timeline, like right now. Even if it doesn't seem like it, even if we don't like our lives right now, we where we are supposed to be right now. And it's actually that all the fears and the doubts and the thoughts and where we're not acting like our authentic self, and where um, we like are not acting from the fears or the doubts, that we can kind of always like rework so we can get, more to our core, more to that love and like who we truly are, and work more from that place. And so this is a major like strengthening of our core and having that unconditional love for ourselves to really, act from our heart and our core. Um, and that actually makes it easier. It's just like, it's not about like going after anything. It's about releasing, you're already on your highest timeline. You just got to release a lot. Okay. And then I like Venus. I mean, I kind of like, oops, Venus trying this. I do like Venus squaring Jupiter, even though it's, it's messy, whatever. It's making our, minds go a little crazy. But this is kind of like where, when it comes to like what we value and relationships and, money, we can mentally unwind like all those like programs too, and also just get out of the mind. Realize where we need to just get out of the mind. We need to get into the heart. We need to get into the body. Um, when it comes to all of these things. So it's like dissolving even more of the old programs and mentalities with relationships, money, and what we value. And I love this because we can have a lot of gratitude, you know, we can really recognize like, yeah, just have more compassion and gratitude for ourselves and others. And, you know, really just like lean into the soul a little bit more to dissolve, you know, more of, yeah, where we need to go. Cause yeah, our dreams can only happen right now if we're connected to oneness. And so really go within and, you know, because that's how we get connected to oneness and lean into the soul the next 18 months because there's no way around it. And this is like a nice like kickstart to all of that. But rest, like let your emotions flow, have gratitude for where you are right now and compassion so you can like really just have a big release. Because I think, you know, with all this water, we can really have a lot of fast awakenings and release a lot, like a lot faster than how we, you know, had to release stuff in the past. This is like a turbo charge of like cleansing the emotional body. So I like that. Ride the Delulu wave because there's no control, there's no planning, there's no, you know, wanting needing the practical things to fix anything. We just gotta have, you know, prayer, faith, meditation, ride the Delulu wave, embody more of our soul, and yeah, realize that we ultimately are like, you know, as long as we're in this body, we kind of are a servant to earth, you know, because this is body is from earth. So, you know, recognize how we, you know, need to serve more of the collective. I think that'll help too. Okay, so yeah, let's get into what it's like for all the signs. So Cancer, one sec. I'm gonna cut this out too. And let me pull, or actually let me pull cards too. Oh shit. Oh, and I pulled these cards too. So, you know, because I love this deck for, you know, the massive feminine energy wave with this moon. Oh, I love that. This is so perfect. Okay, so love that. We're getting into our sensuality, which is that feminine wisdom and everything. You know, and into our passions, like what we're truly passionate about too. I love that with you know, this, and then grateful optimism, joyous view of the future. When we, you know, get into that optimism and when we're grateful, we can be so excited for the future. We just have to be so excited about the unknown and the uncontrollable, but knowing that it's going to be okay. And like, yeah, we can be delulu and excited, you know, take like the pressure off. And then Healing Earth came out, which is so perfect. The power to give and receive healing. Realize how much earth heals. You know, go out in nature, really go on walks, hug a tree. I needed to ground the other day and I like hugged a tree and it really does work, you know? So like, yeah, realize that earth heals and you know, if you open yourself to receive the healing from earth, you know, you just have to ask. You know, you just got to receive it and then you can give it to others. Okay. So let's go with Cancer. So Cancer, you're going to be frustrated when it comes to like yourself, your identity, maybe your outlook on life, ways that maybe you haven't been embodying like your full, like authentic self, where you can make some changes and embody more of yourself, and it's releasing, with Mercury in the seventh house. No, we're not going to do that. And yeah, with this sextile to the South Node, it's like you're releasing something when it comes to your daily life or your mentality or your schedule. So you can kind of look broader. You're looking towards the future. You're having future visions and aligning with philosophies and education and, the broader perspective of this world and taking that seriously. So you can maybe release a little bit of the nitpickiness when it comes to the daily life. Okay, so let's go. Leo. Okay, so Leo, this is rest time. Like, give yourself time to rest and retreat and reflect back, when it comes to the past. And this is a great time to really get into, any kind of spirituality or occult stuff, human design, astrology, tarot, like anything to kind of like give you more of that soulful information about yourself, but also like journaling, paying attention to your dreams, all of that. Like really, you're connecting to your higher self in a big way right now. And yeah, there are sleepless, like it's hard to sleep right now, but with that, you can pay attention to like where you are agitated, where you do need to also like rest more. Like Pluto's at a Capricorn, it's not like that constant stress and grind. And it's time to see where you need to like sit back and relax and rest and let those brilliant ideas come in, with Cancer ruling the 12th house. Because, really brilliant, like innovative ideas do come in, but you need to be able to receive and relax. Okay. And then Virgo. Virgo, you're going to be making changes when it comes to your friends, your groups, your networks, your hopes and dreams for the future. So maybe seeing like where you need to release like hopes and dreams that you previously had that aren't, maybe not lining up with who you are now. So you can be very, just empowered with like, where you want to go next and very like just soulfully aligned with certain relationships. And maybe it's like, you've had challenges with relationships and you've learned a lot of lessons with relationships. So now it's like with when it comes to relationships and being pushed in this faded, soulful direction, like there's going to be soulmates for sure coming in the next 18 months and twin flames, higher level soul connections, all of that. And you can really get a partner that's like stable and like also a high level soul connection. And it's just about finding that nice balance, being in the present moment, realize that you're always going to be pushed towards the right direction and the right relationships and not like hanging on too tightly to where things, current relationships that maybe aren't showing up in the right way. And also like releasing like, ways that maybe you've been like holding yourself back from more Delulu connections too. Like you can release being a little like either self-critical or critical in general. So you can like lean into this Pisces like faith and trust and see who's opening up your world in a really big way. Because, they're whoever's opening up your world can really broaden your horizons into new hopes, dreams, and visions for the future and new friends and networking. Yeah. Okay. That's a fun one. So, Libra, you're really looking at the long term in your career and who you are out in the world, and you're passionate about it. You're feeling motivated. You want to, go towards like you you're you're going to be reflecting for a bit like what you want overall. This is your legacy. This is long-term goals and everything and how you can align more with your passions and maybe the right relationships to really go in the right direction to make more money. Because Mars rules your second house and seventh house. So it's like, with the right relationships, how you can be more passionate with making money and kind of reevaluating all of that, cutting anything that's like not a part of like who you want to be out in the world anymore. So you can ignite that spark again in a big way and have a lot more material success and be motivated. So pay attention to wherever you're feeling frustrated. That could be like where you're just not aligned for the long term, where you can make these changes with this Mars retrograde and everything in the upcoming months. So you can like go full steam ahead and reach a lot of rewards, um, later this year. So Scorpio, I love Scorpio. So this is looking at your future. Looks like you could totally demolish a lot of old beliefs, like any beliefs that were holding you back, any previous ways you saw the world, politically or spiritually. So you can, really like go, wait a second, like, like where are you frustrated? Where have you been limiting yourself so you can, because, Mars rules you. So, and your work, like can you embody more of that power and like have those empowering beliefs to really pump you up out into the world and take what's yours, really, so you can show up in the world in a bright and shiny way and be excited and, maybe even combine like, your future vision with what you want to create. Um, More of because like your creativity house is very highlighted so you can really like you're being pushed in a destined direction towards creation, and this could be creation of kids, creation of a business, creation of just a bunch of brilliant downloads that can come in the next couple of months. So you can like, plant that seed and create something that's very exciting that takes you somewhere, a lot farther and, broadens your world in some way. And this is being on your Dharma timeline. So it's like making the adjustment so you can be on that highest timeline for more fun and adventure and, yeah, something that's like truly aligned with you. Okay. And then release any friends that aren't aligned with that or previous hopes and dreams. Yeah, that were maybe too rigid because there's a abundance of creativity for sure. You can create anything. So like really, be start realizing what you want to create. So Sagittarius, this is in the eighth house, and you're clearing out majorly, like just the guilt, the shame, the heavier, dense emotions. It can be guilt, shame, like traumas, like the deeper topics of like life that are really just rising up to the surface right now, and it's going to be like hard to ignore. But the eighth house does rule the chakra system. So, this is kind of an uncomfortable purging before the nice purging comes with Jupiter later this year. But it is like, aggressively pulling up those things, so you can really like know what you need to cut out so you can, just be more solid in your inner world and with who you are and just aligned with your soul. This is also like cutting out like any debts or any investments that just might be too, heavy or just not aligned anymore. You're just like not feeling empowered with them or any partnerships, any contracts. What do you need to cut out so you can be, way more aligned with like your fun and your passions and maybe like what's been on the back of your mind too. Um, so yeah, eighth house. Oh yeah. Also like seeing where you maybe were holding yourself back from being a little bit more open in relationships where you can release those fears majorly and have those deeper conversations and be empowered by having those deeper conversations so you can have like way more empowering relationships. Um, yeah, all around. Okay. And then also that's like having those deeper conversations with maybe like home and family. So it really like pushes you into this like dreamy, like solid foundation when it comes to home and family. And yeah. So Capricorn, this is, frustrations with partnerships. So you're going through a clearing out majorly when it comes to relationships, and this could be business, clients, romantic, one-on-one family, even one-on-one relationships of all kinds. Like where can you be a little bit more empowered and empowered in your conversations and where can you have that mental boost with what you want your everyday life to look like in your schedule and your routines and maybe with writing projects too. How can you like make your everyday life the way you really want it and make your everyday life the dream and have those empowering relationships and realize maybe where you ignored shit in the past or where you took like family patterns of dealing with relationships so you can cut those family patterns out and just be like, oh, wait, like, mom or dad should have probably like been more empowered in the relationship and I'm not gonna take that karmic lesson with me. I'm just gonna be like, this is the kind of relationship I want. Don't be like, don't feel bad for asking for, what you want. And, knowing that and being empowered with that can really, boost you up into out into the world in a whole new way and kind of like create a foundation, a home and family foundation with a strong partnership, for the future. And maybe take you to the right community. Okay. Okay. So Aquarius rising, this is with your work. So work is frustrating. Work and maybe coworkers, and maybe there's a way you can see how things need to be cut out, like either maybe people need to be fired, or maybe you just want to work with other different people. Maybe you want to change your jobs. There's just a lot of frustration with work right now, but there's brilliant ideas when it comes to making money and really boosting up your self-worth and maybe dissolving any limiting beliefs so you can realize like you can totally you can be an entrepreneur. If there's any sign that can easily be an entrepreneur in a whole new creative way that the universe is like, here you go. Here's a ton of like creative brilliant ideas to start your own business, to like make, work the way you want it and make it fun and stand up for yourself at work and make your daily life, your schedule, your routine, your habits, your health work for you and to like really take a load off, and not be such a workaholic. Like work can be fun, work can be passionate, work can be creative. And the more you lean into the creativity of work, the more you can free yourself up in a big way and receive way more rewards like later this year. And yeah, maybe being a little releasing like past investments too, whether it realizing where like you can release like past contracts or investments or also like clear any, of those dense emotions so you can be more open to the dream of like what you can create in this reality and what you can make money off of too. Okay. So Pisces, this is nice. With Mars, oops, did we go to a different day? We did. Okay, anyway. With Mars in the fifth house, you're getting aligned with your passions, your fun, your passion, what's exciting to you, and what have you outgrown? You're taking home and family like really seriously right now, and your life really seriously. So maybe there's a way that you used to have fun with like old friends and stuff that you want to focus more so like on what's fun now and where do you put your creative energy? Because you can put it towards drinking or you can put it towards like creative projects and creating more of what you want in life. This would be a little bit more frustration with kids. So maybe it's like seeing where you can have, some, more, limits or just ways of being compassionate or whatever it is. Kids are complicated. But so you can be empowered in this area. But recognizing your emotional awareness just when it comes to having fun and creating, like, and what, like, maybe you did what maybe you were doing what everybody else was doing for a while, but now it's time to really like buckle down and set some boundaries and you know be because you're releasing friends too, or not friends, but you're releasing relationships and the ways you probably thought you had to be in relationships. But now it's all about you, and you see some sort of vision, you see some sort of big dream, you see like a big dreamy perspective. And this is a once in a lifetime transit. You really have to take advantage of this, and you have to set up boundaries and take your dream really seriously and use more of your creative energy towards that big dream versus pleasing other people, you know? So maybe you got to cut out where you were a little, serving people too much in relationships and feeling like you always had to be there, or, it's your dream. It's a little bit of a selfish, dreamy time for Pisces. So, yeah, release, old ways of having fun or old ways you use your creative energy so you can be very empowered with creating the dream. Okay. And then Aries. So, this is with home and family. Like you could be deep diving. My sister is at Aries rising. You could be deep diving into the family history and getting really empowered with that. Holy shit. Like I didn't know my family did so much. I think my uncle invented spell check. So like what? Like I need spell check. Like that. Thank you. That was interesting. And also both of them like on both sides, like my mom and my dad's side, they like migrated across America like in the 1800s to California. Like they both sides thought about like settling like maybe in the Midwest, and then they got there, they're like no, we're gonna go keep going. So we're here to save our generation's here to save California. God damn it. Anyway, I'm feeling empowered with that. So, yeah, when it comes to yourself and home and family, and like, yeah, having this in-depth transformation, like clearing out family karma and realizing you don't need to follow any ways, you know, that the family did things that don't serve you anymore, like digging back into the past and childhood and traumas so you can release that, and release just what's not you anymore. So you can, be really solid in yourself and your inner world and who you are turning into this next year. And yeah, kind of have that big spiritual insight too of like where you were always supposed to end up and go, and, being really empowered with that. Um, so yeah, you might move too. This could be, getting ready to move or whatever, but yeah. Okay. Okay, and Taurus. So Taurus, really getting empowered in daily life schedule routines and with your mindset. Um, you know, this is kind of like a blah one. Like I have so much Taurus too, but actually no, it's not. Okay. This can be with social media, like being really powerful with like social media in your daily life, and maybe seeing where were wasting time, or maybe a little bit more lazy in your everyday life, where you can actually be a little bit more empowered because you have big hopes and dreams for the future. And soul connections coming in, and like you can expand like very in an unlimitless way, but you have to take your dream very seriously, maybe cut out the friends that like aren't that used to be fun but aren't fun anymore. They were just kind of like you know there or whatever, but you're kind of like having these big dreamy insights and inspirations, and being motivated to like expand your world in some way, to break out of the box. Whenever there's heavy 11th house transits, like you break out of the box in some way. These could be totally, cosmic insights and downloads, from other dimensions too, that, just really inspires you to start like living in a completely different way and, organizing your life in a different way. But yeah, powerful marketing strategies also, and powerful ways of connecting to people or, people in real life or online and all of that. Okay. And releasing the old ways of having fun. Yeah. Bigger, dreamy Delulu inspirations to go after. And then Gemini. So really cutting out, when it comes to daily or when it comes to resources and, kind of like what's in the fridge. This can be a good way to cut out like any unhealthy diet or like, like any unhealthy way of eating or, smoking or so anything like that. Like, because the second house is how you like take care of yourself and your body. And, you can really get on a really nice diet plan with this. But also, this is like cutting out any like bad spending habits and really being empowered with like what you value. Maybe you're just frustrated with money in general and you realize like you can, make money in a whole different way. This is a powerful transit for like, realizing like the bigger you're meant to be realizing a bigger life direction right now with like where you're supposed to be going long term and truly being delulu with that, being very excited about that dream of your legacy and who you are out in the world and just like being very like who do you want to be in this lifetime really like dream big, dream as big as you can, and like you can be led in that soulful direction majorly, and that's where you're going to be pushed towards, and you can align the ways that you make money and be empowered with the ways that you make money to go in that direction and use your skills and talents to be pushed in that unknown direction. And you don't know how you're going to get there, but as long as you're starting to listen to yourself and your soulful guidance, you can go in that direction because the universe wants you to go in that direction. So making money in a way that's fun and aligned with your dreams and something that you're passionate about is really good for this full moon and cutting out any bad spending habits. Okay, guys, thank you so much. That was actually not as hard as I thought it was going to be, but I'm also going to go rest for the rest of this full moon in Cancer. All right, see you.